Are we ready for our next caller?
Yeah, let's jump in.
All right. Oh my. How about we go to Deutschland? Deutschland.
Yes, this is Elli. We've talked to Elli
Yes,
before.
Elli, wie geht's?
Good, und dir? It's nice to talk to you again.
Very, very good. What did you want to talk about today?
So, since our last talk, I was thinking a lot about, well, stuff in general. And one thing I keep stumbling over is whenever I try to phrase like issues I have, things I've gone through, things that really had an impact on my life, I not only have the feeling that I need to justify that in relation to my identity as an atheist or as a lesbian or whatever, but also I actually meet people who go on and say, "Whoa, you're just mad at religious people. You're just mad at God and whatever." And that's just a thing that I'm still kind of hung up on at this point in time. And I thought that would be kind of interesting to talk about.
Sure.
Definitely.
Well, I did a lot of talking on that last call.
Yeah. Well, Elli, first of all, lovely talking with you again. I think I feel that deep in my bones. That is something that we all have to deal with on a constant basis. And honestly, you can do your best to explain where you're coming from, and there will always be people who refuse to accept that that's what you mean, that you're being honest when you talk with them. They are going to need to put their narrative on you because otherwise that causes too much cognitive dissonance for them. If they take you at your word that you left for reasons that are justified and explainable and logical and realistic, then that means that they have to accept that their religion might not be those things. And so it's a defense mechanism that they are putting on, and they're putting it on you, which is the unfair part. They are deciding that their comfortability and their worldview is more important than treating you like an honest person and a person with autonomy and intention and rationality. And that is very insulting. And the fact that you feel hurt by that or frustrated by that is absolutely justified and understandable, and something I think most atheists who left their faith can empathize with. And I really don't know what next steps are apart from accepting that this is going to be a thing and dismissing the people in your life who require that narrative in order to continue to interact with you.
Yeah, I think that in the end, it could be a goal to pity them because that's what they deserve. They deserve pity. These are people, like V said, who cannot accept that you have a good reason for what you believe. Instead, they're just going to pin it on some other thing so that they don't have to think very hard. That's sad. And hopefully, maybe, by living as a good example, maybe they can, in time, challenge things that maybe they're less afraid of, and it can cause them to continue to challenge and grow in other ways in their life. But you have no obligation to take on their weird bullshit because that is theirs. They own that entirely. You cannot reach into their brain. You cannot make them understand that they're doing that. Like, that's a process they need to go through. You don't need to be there for it. You're not required to jump through hoops for them. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's true of people. You should, even if you want to have a relationship with somebody, you still don't need to jump through those hoops.
Right. And this is the prescient thing here is, of course, the atheism piece and the leaving religion piece. But in any other situation, can you imagine where this would go over and not be offensive and demeaning? Like, I like this movie. Well, you just like that movie because you hate my movie. Or I voted for this candidate. Oh, you only voted for this candidate because your dad hurt you. It's like, all right, I'm not talking to you anymore because clearly you're not invested in having an honest conversation where we are on equal footing. And of course, this all gets heightened when it's religion, when it's that intense and that fundamental to some people's identity. But just because they are not able to see you as a full person with autonomy and with rationality doesn't mean that you have any obligation to prove that to them. And it's up to you. If you want to continue those conversations, that's great. I think Eric's advice to move to a place of empathy and pity for that person is probably the best way to do that. But if you don't have the mental spoons for that, right? If you don't have the energy, if you would rather do better things with your time, that is absolutely okay. And you are hereby absolved of ever needing to deal with that again. You can walk away and know that we're on your side in that.
Yep.
Oh man, damn, you always get me to cry. Damn. But it's great that you mention the spoon theory. I think it's very beneficial to anyone, really, even people without mental health issues, to look into that, because we have a limited time on this earth, and it's really important to think about what are we going to do with what we have. And yeah.
If they think they've got eternity to argue this, then they can do that on their time. But we know that's not true. We do know that we have a limited amount of time, and that is precious. That's valuable, and you get to decide how you spend it.
Absolutely. If you haven't looked up, go ahead.
No. I interrupted you. Sorry.
If you haven't looked up sea lining, you absolutely should, because I feel like those things go hand in hand. I recently got an email from somebody who wanted to rehash an entire conversation that I've already had many, many times about the definition of atheism. And it was a huge email, and I just was not. We were in line to vote. It was 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, have fun with that. And they're just like, you are such a dishonest person. It's like, I don't owe you shit. Just because somebody wants to tell you a thing doesn't mean that they're worth your time or energy. It just doesn't. You get to choose.
Funny enough, now that you mentioned it, I think I can I already use kind of that technique when I think about a person that really gets on my nerves and I have to interact with them. I just consider that maybe they just don't have a filter. They don't have the capacities to not step on my toes. So maybe I just shrug and pity them a little for their lack of insight into and empathy.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got one. Just imagine that you're on Tinder and you just get spammed with messages from guys who want to hook up.
Or women. I believe you said you're a lesbian.
And women and everyone else. I apologize. Well, actually, no. I'm if I stick with guys, that's even better.
Okay.
You don't respond, and they say, "Well, why aren't you responding to me? Damn it! You need to give me an adequate explanation. Do you think that you need to write them a dear sir or madam? I have chosen to not accept you as a sexual partner because of X, Y, and Z, and just do that for the rest of your life. You don't owe them."
I like that a lot.
That's hilarious. And also, Eric, I don't know if you were aware, there are a lot of guys and also straight couples on Tinder marking their profile as female so they can message people who have set their profile to only seeing females and only being seen by females.
I feel your pain.
I feel like I cannot add into that other than to say that I'm not that, and I'm so sorry. Anyway,
but no, Elli, I think that you're spot on. Using the same tactics that you've developed to deal with people who get on your nerves for completely other reasons. This is just another type of person getting on your nerves, and you have as much right to be like, all right, they probably don't know what they're doing. I'm going to put up with them and then just forget about them when they're gone and do my best to minimize interaction where I can. Mm-hmm. That's all that's required of you. Your mental health comes first.
Agreed.
But how can someone get on a single nerve cell?
Oh, we love you, Elli.
That was beautiful.
Vielen Dank. Thank you for calling. And we hope to hear from you again soon.
Bye.
Cheers. All right.
I'm going to get on a single. That was beautiful.
I really, really liked that.
That was really, really awesome.